Hey guys, this is Simon. I'm here at Downey High School here in California, speaking today on behalf of the Lymphoma Society, who's starting their Pennies for Patients drive, which is one of their big campaign fundraising initiatives.
All right, listen up, we got about 1,800 students.
My dad's first wife died of leukemia, and my mom's first husband also died of leukemia. My parents actually met in the hospital where both of their first spouses were being treated, and they became really good friends. They bonded over what they were both going through. Years later, they remained pen pals for years. They met up, they got married, and they had me. And when I was 10, I was diagnosed with leukemia. And that's purely coincidental. I'm not related to my parents' first spouses. Leukemia isn't genetic, it's pure coincidence. And needless to say, it really devastated my parents. At the time, I was given a 50-50 chance of even surviving. And I did. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after I was diagnosed, I went into remission, and it was one of the fastest documented remissions for my kind of leukemia at the time, back in 1996. I was on chemo for 2.5 years. And a couple months after I was diagnosed, I went back to school. I was in 5th grade at the time. And I remember going back to school, my music teacher giving me an audition form for a musical that was coming to town. It was the national tour of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And my music teacher knew that I loved to sing. So she asked me to audition. She thought I should do it. Later that day, in the hospital, after school, I was getting a blood transfusion. And I pulled out the audition form and handed it to my mom and asked if she would call to set up an audition for me. And at that point, she broke down. I couldn't do it. I had cancer. There was no way. How could you do this? And it wasn't coming from a negative place. It was coming from a place of concern, out of love. My mother genuinely thought that I couldn't do it, that I wasn't capable, that it would be detrimental for me to even try. And I begged and I begged and I begged, and she finally relented and called and set up an audition for me. And weeks of auditions went by, and somehow I was getting through all the different rounds. I kept making it through. And a couple months later, I ended up booking the role. And my doctors were concerned at first. They didn't know if I'd be able to handle it. I was in 5th grade, I was on heavy chemo, I'd lost all my hair, I was so sick. I was going to school at 7 a.m. in the morning, going to rehearsal right after school in downtown, staying there till midnight. But what they found was that it wasn't hurting me, it was helping me. It was giving me a reason to live, and I was finding something that I loved, something that just totally reinvigorated me, gave me a sense of purpose. And that night, the night that we opened the show, I found what I wanted to do with my life. I realized what my dream was. And I was 10 years old, and I was still on chemo. 2 years later, I finished my chemo. By 17, I was cured. By 18, I graduated high school and moved to LA to pursue my crazy dreams of music and acting. And then on my birthday last year, I booked a role in Nickelodeon's first musical. And it was something that was life-changing for me, not just because it was a big project, not just because it was a big job, something that I was very proud of, but because it truly represented the culmination of all of these dreams that I've had ever since I was little. Things that my mom 10 years ago never thought would even be remotely possible. Things that doctors didn't think would be possible. And looking at you guys today and seeing the potential that you guys have for greatness, the potential that you guys have for bringing a positive impact in the world around you. I mean, to be able to channel that into something like this, a project like this, that will, let people like me help look at kids like Cookie and Tyler and say, you can do whatever you want with your life. You can achieve every dream that you have, and you don't have to feel stifled by the disease that you're battling. There's something that's so great. And if I can do anything to convince you guys as to how important this is and how great this is, and that what an amazing foundation Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is, and how deserving they are of your help, and how deserving kids like Cookie and Tyler, and every little kid battling cancer, every little sick kid who doesn't think that they can live to see the day that they achieve their dreams. Well, I really hope that I can help convince you as to how important that is. So thank you very much for your time.
I should get one for my daughter.
Okay, sure. Because I've got a really good friend who's training for the Ironman with Rachel's team. So I was just, you know, his name's Josh Jewett, who he's getting his MBA at UCL Oh, okay. Oh, wait.
Guys, you gotta go to class. Sorry, you gotta go to class. You gotta go to class.